Have you ever fought so hard for something that only much later did you realize your struggle itself was the obstacle? Think of a moment in your life. It might be recent, it might be from long ago, when you pushed with everything you had. A relationship, a dream, a decision that stubbornly refused to arrive. And the more effort you put in, the more it seemed to resist. Hold on to that moment. We'll need it in a little while, because there is a story coming from the slopes of a mountain where the wind spoke more than the men that can forever change the way you look at those closed doors. In a very old monastery, with walls of cold stone, but an interior filled with a strange warmth, the warmth of questions that never find easy answers, lived a young monk named Ryu. Ryu had arrived there with eyes full of hunger, not for bread, for meaning. He wanted to understand life. He wanted to understand himself. And above all, he wanted to find what the masters called the door of true understanding. It wasn't a metaphorical door, it was a real one. In the deepest corridor of the monastery, there was a door made of dark wood, old, with a rusty iron latch. It was said that behind it was a room where the wisest monks meditated in absolute silence. It was said that whoever entered that room and remained still long enough would understand what words can never say. Ryu wanted to enter. On the first day, he went to the door and pushed it. It didn't open. On the second day, he returned. He pushed harder. It didn't open. In the first week, he tried in the morning, he tried in the afternoon, he tried at night. He pushed, pulled, rammed it with his shoulder, tried to find a secret pattern. A special rhythm of knocks, a word that would unlock the mechanism. Nothing. The other monks passed by him in the corridor and said nothing. They simply watched with that serene look that irritated Ryu so much, that look that seemed to say, "We already know something you still don't know." After a month, Ryu was exhausted. His hands were sore, his ego was in pieces, and the door exactly the same. Impassive, cold, silent. One night he went to see the master. The master was called Kai, and he had the appearance of someone who had lived so many lives that he had decided to stop counting them. "Master," said Ryu, his voice breaking, "the door won't open. I've tried everything. Is there something wrong with me?" The master looked at him for a long moment. Then he asked, with a calmness that felt like a deep river, "When you push the door, which way are you facing?" Ryu frowned. "Toward the door, always toward the door." Kai tilted his head slightly. "And have you ever taken a step back to look at it?" Ryu returned to the corridor that night, but this time, instead of moving toward the door, he stepped back. 1 step, 2, 3, and then he saw it. Next to the door, there was a wooden sign he had never noticed. The letters were small, almost faded by time. He approached slowly, his heart beating as if it knew something was about to change. The sign said only, "Pull." Ryu stood still for what felt like an eternity. Then, in silence, he raised his hand, held the latch, and pulled. The door opened, not with a dramatic creak, not with light pouring into the corridor. It opened with the softness of something that had always been willing to yield, something that had only been waiting for someone to stop fighting against themselves. Many times, the door you try to break down is the very one that would open if you simply stepped back. That night, Ryu entered the room. He sat down, and he remained still. It was not the room that transformed him. It was the moment before entering, the instant when he had to stop, step back, and admit that the problem was not the door. It was the way he was relating to the door. Days later, he spoke again with Master Kai. "Why didn't anyone tell me I only had to pull?" The master smiled, the kind of smile that is not condescending but not innocent either. "We told you many times, but you couldn't hear it because you were too busy pushing. A mind that insists has no space to receive. It's like trying to fill a cup that is never set down." Ryu looked at his sore hands, at the marks on his palms from hitting the wood so many times. And what if I had given up? What if I had left? That's the difference, said Kai, between giving up and letting go. Giving up is turning your back. Letting go is keeping the intention, but releasing the illusion that you know the only path. It's trusting that there is a door, but accepting that it may open in a way you have not yet imagined. Do you remember that moment I asked you to hold on to at the beginning? That struggle, that door, that effort that seemed to lead nowhere? Ask yourself now, honestly, were you pushing when you should have been pulling? Blind persistence is not strength. It is fear disguised as determination. Letting go is not weakness. It is the courage to take a step back without losing sight of the destination. Sometimes the answer is not in more effort. It is in less. It is in the pause, in the silence that precedes understanding, in the step backward that allows us to see what closeness hides. Ryu never pushed the doors of life in the same way again. And you? What door have you been pushing when perhaps all it needs is to be pulled? If this story made you pause, even for a moment, then it has already fulfilled its purpose. Thank you very much for being here, for giving your time and your attention. In a world full of noise, choosing to sit in silence with us is a gift that is not forgotten. If you feel that there is someone in your life who is also pushing doors, share this video with that person. Sometimes the right message arrives through the hands of someone who knows us. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do something a little unusual now. Close your eyes, think about that door you have been trying to break open, and then click subscribe. Not because we ask you to, but because someone who learns to take a step back deserves a place to keep growing. Until the next story, the path continues.